Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the main line of the London system, or as you could say, the most popularly played line as white and black of the London system. So, it starts off with simple d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6, bishop f4. We have discussed this in our video yesterday that these bishop and knight are pretty active pieces, and these are just normal developing moves. So after bishop f4, bishop f5, e3, c5. C5 again is looks like a threatening move, but we don't need to worry because after we play c3, we maintain this structure which white has. And even if black does take, which is not too common in the higher level, but young players or people who are beginning to play chess will play this move often, you can just take back with the pawn, and the main thing you have to maintain is this solid structure here. Because when you have this structure, it's very hard for black to attack this structure. Black has a few ideas of after bringing knight to c6 and bringing rook to c1, which does annoy white slightly, but you don't have to worry too much because this is usually played by younger players, and younger players don't usually find the move rook c8, knight c6, and play accurately on the queen side. So even if you get this take, White's immediate idea is to play after e takes d5, knight c6. You play bishop c3. Bishop c3 here. It's depending on White. If White is willing to play aggressive, White usually plays bishop g4, which is not a bad move. But I feel like it's not following the opening principle that you should not move the same piece twice, meaning the bishop to f5 and then g4. A better move for black is to play bishop g6, because if you ever take this pawn with h takes, black has a lot of counterplay on the king side, and castling king side could be a risk which white usually doesn't want to take. So bishop g6 is a more solid move. So if your opponent does play bishop g6, white should easily just play queen f2. Some people are just quickly while playing quickly they blunder knight f2, which is a clear blunder. You lose your bishop. So here you just have to pay attention that you're not playing too quick, and you directly play queen c2. Queen c2. The idea is you want black. If black takes the bishop, queen takes. You have, if we count the number of active pieces, you have one, two active pieces. Your opponent has two active minor pieces too, but you have an active queen. Black doesn't have any good squares for the queen, while your queen is sitting nicely and safely on the d3 square. It could get some potentials to go to c5 and create weaknesses on the queen side, or you could use it to swing it here to g3 and create weaknesses on the king side. So in this part of the game, it's basically white who decides which way white wants to attack. I would feel like this is comfortable. Bishop takes, queen takes. It's a nice, comfortable position. Ideas bring knight to d2. Black has to play e3, bring bishop to e7 or e6, and then we both castle, and the position will keep going. It's a nice, simple position if you don't like complex positions. I think white can easily get a draw here. Holding a draw here for white is extremely easy, even against a higher rated player. And white also has a few chances to play for win here. So going back, so c takes d4 is not necessary a very good move, but it's a possible move which you might encounter. So going back, the correct continuation for black, not correct, but the main continuation for black is knight c6, and then comes bishop d3. Bishop d3, according to game reports, has not been played often, but bishop d3 is following the London structure which we're trying to maintain. This bishop is pretty active on the light squares. And the thing is, this bishop on e3 is extremely important and should not be exchanged by a knight, by any of these two knights, because if we lose this bishop and black also has their light square bishop, then these light squares become extremely weak, and it's extremely hard for white to control. So it's very rare that black will win this bishop with the knight on c6, but you just have to be extremely careful with this move. And this bishop can be a monster if you don't have a light square bishop here. So bishop b3, bishop takes bishop, queen takes. Again, bishop g6, a possible move. Bishop g6 is not the main line, but again with bishop g6 we continue with queen c2 and knight bd2. Again, you should not blunder this bishop here. It's extremely important. So after bishop goes to g3, and we keep going development. But the main line is bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop, e3. E3 again. Black didn't play e3 before just so he could get this bishop out, or it would be stuck in here with this pawn. But after playing e3, Black is now playing e6 to bring this bishop to d3 or d2. Again, two extremely active squares. So if bishop after e6, White brings knight to d2, we are completing our development. This knight on d2 might look like it's not an extremely strong piece, but later on in the game and later on in videos, we will find out how this knight could be a monster in the game. Then White plays bishop d6. Common, it's a very natural developing move. Here, most people make the mistake of capturing this bishop on d6. If you capture and queen captures, it's very hard for White to have any winning potential in this position. If these bishops get traded off and the queen is also on e6, currently the queen doesn't have any good squares here. The queen's the only square which is acceptable is either queen comes to b6 or c2. Queen c2 is an idea, but queen c2 is just saying Black is happy with a draw, and Black doesn't want to play for a win. If you get queen to b6, which is an extremely strong move, queen b6, if then you have this extremely crazy control of this b file, and this b file is the main weakness in the London system for White, but it's not easy to exploit unless you give Black the opportunity to. So we bring our bishop back to g3, bishop takes g3. Here is the mistake most people make. They take with the f pawn, which is a clear mistake. It's a mistake because this pawn on e3 starts to feel a little weak, and the knight and the square on e4 is now extremely solid, and a clear plan for Black is to concentrate all its pieces on the c4 square. So the correct move is h takes and then castles. Castle over here might look like a bad move, but again, castling is just saying Black is just telling that Black is not scared of the attack on the h file. This attack is not extremely deadly, but if Black isn't careful, Black could fall into a few traps, which is a problem because this queen on d3 is extremely active, and this knights can easily come to g4, and then this knight could come to f3, and the attack is very clear. Usually, Black plays perfectly. It should not be a problem. That's why castling is meant to be the best move, because when you castle, Black has some potential to attack on the queen side with some b4 and a4 moves. B4 and a4 are extremely strategical moves, which most young players or not very good players are not able to execute properly. If your opponent is above the rating of 1200, they will probably play b4, or sorry, b5. After they play b5, we have a clear cut plan. We could either attack on the king side, or if you're playing for a draw as White, you could easily just castle. And with castling over here as White, you just have to be careful not to open the queen side up extremely quickly. And if Black really, really wants to open the queen side, he might take this pawn. Then you play pawn takes, and now it's a position where to see who can really screw in the advantage. Rook comes to c8, and then Rook will try to control the c file, and our Rook comes to e1, and then we'll try to take care of the e file. It's not a clear position. I think this position is usually a draw if both players play well, but there are chances for Black and White to make mistakes. Most people don't usually play the London system because they feel it has a high tendencies of draws, which it does, to be honest. But if White plays some aggressive or slightly more confusing lines for Black, White always has some counter in this opening. So I'm only going to explain this for this video, and next video is probably going to be a game analysis of a game I've played in the London system, which I will try to show a few attacking ideas. And I will continue the series and show more ideas in the main line for the next few videos, and then we'll switch to more lines. What if white plays after d4, knight f6? Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and share if you liked it, and tell me in the comments if you have ever tried it out and how it went. Thank you for watching.